Okay, good evening, everybody. Hi, Gopkumar, good evening. I hope you can see me and hear me clearly and see the presentation. Am I visible? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Good evening, Rohini. Good evening, Rajesh. Good evening, Anil, Gopakumar, Rajesh, Rakesh, Bindu, Rohini. Hi, good evening. Good evening, Sudhakaran. So we have about 5 minutes to go, guys. So we'll just wait for others to join us. Good evening, Nitin. Okay. Hi, good evening, everybody who is joining in. Savita, good evening. Vipin, good evening. Natrajan, good evening. Guys, please confirm in the chat box if you can see me and hear me clearly and also see the presentation. Type a yes in the chat box, please. Yeah. Okay, yeah. There I am. Please type a yes in the chat box if you can see me, hear me, and see the presentation. Great. Thank you so much. Thomas, Natrajan, Manoj, Sudhakaran, Savita, thank you. Welcome. Selva Ganesh, good evening. Good evening, Devika. Hi, Deepu, Ragini, good evening, welcome. Anand Menon, good evening. Lakshmipati, good evening. Suresh, good evening. Thomas, good evening. Good evening, Raju. We got about 2 minutes more to go, guys. So just hold on. We shall start on this very, very interesting topic. Okay, people who are just joining the last few minutes, please go to the chat box and give me a yes. If you can see me and hear me clearly and also see the presentation. Please go to the chat box and please give me a confirmation by typing a yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so we are good to go now. Let's kickstart this session. Very good evening to all of you and welcome to this yet another session of the Work Better Club live online masterclass. And today's topic is of very, very importance to all of us, which is on conducting meetings effectively, right? I'm sure, all of us in our corporate career are either leading a meeting or being part of a meeting. So today's discussion would be on whether you are part of a meeting or whether you are leading a meeting, whether it is a face-to-face meeting whenever that happens, and whether you are on a virtual meeting, some of the things which you need to do to make your meetings effective, right? I have about 36 participants on this Saturday evening. Great to see that as a Work Better Club family grows. It's really great to see that all of you are really taking time out to invest in yourself and becoming better people and better professionals, right? So welcome again. And my name is Gautam Gupta. I'm sure I have met all of you probably earlier, but in case there are some new participants, let me quickly do an introduction. I have about more than 31 years of experience in the corporate world, last 17 years in the professional corporate training industry. Currently at Work Better, I head the business development for Work Better, and I'm also a master trainer, right? So that's a quick introduction about me. And of course, Work Better, I'm sure all of you know by now. Yeah. So if this is your first session in the Work Better Club, then welcome and have a happy learning session. So we're going to talk about this very, very important topic, which is called conducting effective meetings. Okay. Okay. For the last time, let me quickly check. We have about 39 participants. Give me a yes if you can see me, hear me, and see the presentation clearly. For people who have just joined the last minute or so, please give me a yes, whether you can see me, hear me, and see the presentation clearly. Great. Thank you so much, all of you. Wonderful to see so many participants on a Saturday evening where we have 40 people wanting to really understand some of the nuances of conducting meetings effectively. Wonderful. Great to thank you all for that confirmation. So yeah, we're going to talk about a very, very interesting topic called how do I conduct meetings effectively, right? Whether it is a face-to-face meeting and whether it's a virtual meeting, right? Now, before I start again, I hope all of you are safe and healthy with yourself and your family members. And if you are at a lockdown city, then please follow the guidelines. If you are in a city which has unlocked, please still be cautious and take precautionary measures. And of course, we are all hoping that sooner or later, it's been already been nearly 6 months, but I'm sure sooner or later we'll all be, free to do whatever we want. But yeah, till that time, please take utmost care and precaution, and hopefully we'll all be able to go back to our normal life. Yeah. Till then, okay, let's enjoy this and enjoy this moment we have and enjoy this learning we are going to have. Great. So we're going to talk about conducting meetings effectively, right? Now, before I start, let's quickly, sorry. Yeah. So I think most of the people who have attended earlier are quite aware that for the ease of conducting this session, your cameras and mics have been disabled. Please use the chat box, okay, for your views, for your answers, for your comments, and for your inputs. So please extensively use the chat box. I would prefer that, right? I will take questions at the end of each module if there are some questions. Otherwise, we have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the session, which we will have, which we will look at after class, where I can answer some specific questions of yours, right? So please, my request is park your questions and put it in the Q&A box, where I will try to pick up all the questions and try to answer all the questions the best of my abilities, right? So please use that. As I said, chat, raise hand, and Q&A. And at the end of the session, we will have an assessment link, which will be shared by my colleague Divya, who is there in my assisting me in this. And at the end of the 60-75 minutes, we will have that assessment link in the chat box. Please click there and then go and answer some questions. If you have really paid a little bit of attention, I'm sure all of you will get 100%. And of course, that will make you eligible for the digital certificate, which we will share with you. Yeah, that is going to be our agenda for today. And those are the ground rules for this particular webinar or our masterclass of today. Great. So let's head into this session and talk about what do we mean and what is it and how to and why is conducting effective meetings so important for us, right? And as per all surveys and reviews by authorities of management, and I'm going to share one authority, which is the Harvard Business Review Authority, right? Harvard Business Review has, one second, give me 1 second. Yeah. Now, Harvard Business Review, in its insights, has given and has studied this particular phenomena of these meetings which happened in organization. And I'm sure all of us have been part of meeting. All of us either are organizing or conducting these meetings or participating in these meetings. And there have been many, many challenges. And some of the statistics shared by Harvard Business Review is pretty revealing in terms of what happens and what are the certain things. So Harvard Business Review has surveyed some 182 senior managers in a range of industries. And if you look at it, the statistics are quite mind-boggling, okay? 65% said meetings keep them from completing their own work, which means the meetings are probably very unproductive, right? 71% said meetings are unproductive and inefficient, right? They would rather be doing what they're supposed to do rather than be in a particular meeting, right? Because they are unproductive and inefficient, right? 64% said meetings come at the expense of deep thinking, right? Meetings are distractive. The meetings do not allow them to really be focused and thinking upon their core tasks and core jobs, right? And 62% said meetings miss opportunity to bring the team closer together, right? So the meetings are done in such a manner that instead of getting the team together, it does absolutely the opposite, right? So these are some of the very, very stark statistics of Harvard Business Review. And I'm sure most of you will agree to all of these or some of these, that we have all been part of meetings which are ineffective, unproductive. They do not really do much to the entire discussion. Instead of answering questions, they come up with more questions, right? So you have to have a meeting to conduct a meeting on how to go about a meeting. This is really, really unfortunate, right? So these are some of the insights for the Harvard Business Review, right? Now, I would like to hear from some of you, what has been your experience of attending certain meetings? What do you think are some of the, things, like Harvard Business Review has come up. What is your views about attending certain, meetings in your office, and what has that left you with? What kind of a feeling have you got once you have finished the meeting and gone back to your workstation? Some of the things which is there in your mind, right? It could be good, it could be not so good. I'm okay with that. Just give me your views on, at the end of a particular meeting, whether it was called by you, your colleague, or your boss. Okay, Vipin has said that most of the meeting has been productive. Okay, great. Good to know that, Vipin. I'm very glad. Savita says some meetings are effective while some are not. So, Savita, when you say not, why are they not effective? So, Lakshmipati is adding, meeting helps in sharing of thought. Absolutely, absolutely. Natarajan is adding, they used to be productive mostly and informative. Okay, so meetings are productive and informative. So some of the not so good, if you can share also, what happens in those not so good meeting? What is it that you are left with once you exit that particular meeting room? Okay, Bindu has added very good interaction among members. Okay, that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea of having good interaction amongst all members. Wonderful. Rohini has added, sometimes they're not effective. Agenda is diverted. Yes. So agenda was A, the discussion is Z. And they are at parallel, there's no conversion of the agenda. Very good. Thank you so much, Rohini. Selva has said, meetings gives an opportunity to introspect the performance. Yes, of course. A lot of times, one of the purpose of meetings is introspect where we are and where we need to go. Ganesh has added, to some extent, productive. Santosh, waste of time, it will turn in chat meeting. Yes, Santosh, if it is not done productively. Sudhakaran is adding, well-planned meetings are effective, but many times no takeaways. Okay. Why do you think there are no takeaways? Govind has added, not all meetings are effective as a topic may not be related to our area of work. We don't even know why we are there. Right? Absolutely. Vipin has added, help us understand our role and our importance. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Pratyush has added, many times meetings are without agenda. Yes. And that can be very, very frustrating. Nisha has added, some meeting decision will not lead to action. So decisions are made, but no post-meeting action plan is ready. Or we don't know what is to be done now. What? Bhaskar has added, mostly one-sided, lacks sharing of thought. It is mostly one-sided, delivery from the supervisor, and that's about it. No discussion, no sharing of thoughts. Prasad has added, sometimes people come unprepared. Oh, wow. Very, very valid point, Prasad. Yes. But because people are not clear about what to prepare for, that's where the challenge has been. Vinayak has added, we discussed, but the expected results are not coming forth after the meeting. Yes, because probably the whole meeting was not done the right way. Okay, Suresh, meeting pays for analyzing pros and cons of team. Savita has added, some ideas or views are presented in meetings. When we think it's one-sided, we lose interest. Absolutely right. Very well said. I think we all have been, of course, there have been some good meetings, right? There have been some good meetings and there have been some very, very bad meetings we are part of. So we all have undergone that. But most of the time, if they are not done well, this is what will be the result where, as per the Harvard Business Review, if you don't conduct meetings the right way, then probably majority of the people as participants of that meeting will feel like this once they exit the meeting room. So let's look at what can we do, right? Why is meetings, but of course meetings are inevitable at any small, it's a two-man team or a 2,000 people organization. Meetings are inevitable part of our corporate life, right? There's no escaping that. Yeah, some of them of course are done virtually, and of course they will, hopefully once again when we go back to our offices, there will be enough face-to-face environment also, right? So we have had con call meetings which is telephonic, we have had video meetings like this, and of course face-to-face meeting. So some of the rules are applicable across. So we look at some of those thumb rules. Yeah, good. Thank you so much for your inputs. Going ahead. Yeah. Okay, very well quote given by our very own Bill Gates, right? He says that you have a meeting to make a decision, not to decide the question. Okay, that is what should be the entire objective. That every meeting must have some kind of a conclusion, decision, agreement going forward. It should not throw up more questions. It should not come up with more question marks, more gray areas. Then the entire meeting purpose has been lost. right? A very good quote said by Bill Gates, right? Okay, now what does an effective meeting mean? Yeah, what does an effective meeting mean? Any thoughts on this, guys? Can I get some inputs from all of you? What do you think, as per you, would an effective meeting mean? Yeah, let's get some answers. Okay, so properly planned meetings are effective. Okay, so a properly planned meetings. Okay, Natarajan is saying conveying the thoughts. Okay, great. Okay, so a proper planning is very important for effective meetings. Okay, what else? Anybody else would like to add? What else will make, what does an effective meeting mean? Rohini has added a time stipulation with an agenda. Very good, very good. Please keep into mind current scenario also in terms of the virtual meeting we are going to be having. The theme of the meeting should be takeaway, yes. Result oriented about organization target, appropriate to the theme. Two-sided discussion, yes, we need to have two-sided, that will make it effective with a clear agenda to convey the goal and decisions. Ganesh has added results of the meeting, it fulfills the purpose of the meeting, okay. Agenda. Ganesh has added again pre-work. If you're using a presentation, probably a uniform site template for the discussion, yes. Maybe everybody should be given some kind of a template or notes before they come for the meeting, yes. Yeah, okay, so I'm getting some good answers here, very nice. Yeah, so what does an effective meeting mean? Effective meeting means what we have also come up with is, yeah. So an effective meeting is where it achieves a certain business objective, right? It has to achieve a certain business objective, right? There has to be some conclusion. It has to have certain kind of objective, or it could be an objective or some part of the objective it must have been met, right? That should be what it should be. So that is that's what an effective meeting should be, right? It takes up a minimum amount of time. We can't have an entire day of meeting. Yeah. So we need to minimize, and we must respect that people have their core task to do. Yes, this is part of the core task, but this is not the core task, right? So meetings have to be optimizedly timed so that everybody is able to give that devoted time, and we respect everybody's time. It needs to have a minimum amount of time, right? Because attention span is optimized. People after a certain period of time, they zone out of a meeting. So that doesn't serve. So you need to have an optimum minimum amount of time, and it should leave the participants feeling that a sensible process has been followed. Okay, it should not be half-assed. It should not be chaotic. It should not be diverging from the agenda. So that's what an effective meeting would probably be. Over and above what all of you contributed, this is possibly also a few pointers of an effective meeting. It has a certain achievement of business objective. It takes minimum amount of time, and people should feel that there was a certain process and a structure followed to the meeting. That's what makes an effective meeting. Yeah, great. I've got some more replies in the chat box. Let me see what others have to say. Okay, Vipin has added clarity of goal and means to achieve it. Amit's added clarity of thoughts, who has to what should be absolutely clear. Yes, and Sudhakaran has added if the attendees can be convinced about the purpose of the meeting, way forward, challenges, strategies. Yes, that should be the end objective. Right. Very good. So that's what an effective meeting would mean. Okay, so going ahead, let's talk about. Let's do a quick exercise here, and of course, like always, I'm going to put a question to all of you, and I want you to just take a minute to think about it, and then use the chat box to give all your answers together, right? Please don't use separate chat, because otherwise I'll lose your string. Whatever your answers are, please give it in the same chat box. Okay. Question to all of you: why is it important to conduct effective meetings? Okay. Give me some 3 points and write all 3 points together in the chat box, please. Right? Why is it important to conduct effective meetings? Yeah, let's have that. Yeah, my request is please do not jump to answer. Think about it. And for you, if you are a team leader, if you are a participant, right? If you are a supervisor, if you are a manager, if you're an individual who gets called into a particular meeting, then why is important for you to conduct effective meeting? Now we are talking from the time where you are the organizer of this meeting. Okay, you are probably leading this meeting. You are the one who's going to be setting this meeting. So that's very important to think from that point of view. Okay, so I'm getting some answers now. Rohini is added. Effective meetings will save time in executing the objectives and tasks. Okay, that is what the So my question was, why is it important to conduct effective meetings? Okay, so one is that it will save time and execute the objectives and tasks. Okay, fair enough. Rakesh, to convey the objectives properly. Okay, okay, this is moving pretty fast. 1 second, guys. Let me see. What are you answering? Yeah. To convey the objectives, to analyze various solutions, and what else has been answered here? To arrive a realistic decision. Okay, great. Theme has to reach to all. Selva is added. Convey the goals. Review a performance against set goals. Motivating. Yes, that could be the reason. So the importance to is to ensure that we convey the goals, review performance against set milestones, and motivate the team. Very good answer by you, Selva. Manvinder, thinking of the organization goal to team's goal. Okay. Bindu is added to convey the objectives in an interactive manner. Very important. That there should be a two-way communication. Get the suggestions of the participants. Okay. And conclude the final objective. That means there was an objective and we have concluded, or we have come to an answer. Okay, great. That's a good answer. Thank you so much, Bindu. Ganesh, drive high performance and execution. Excellence, differentiate performers and non-performers, help people to grow. Okay, great. What else do we have here? Raju is added to motivate the subordinates and achieve corporate expectation. Yes, that's the goal. Govind is added, ensure that all the team members are on the same page, clearing the open points, ensures timely completion of the work. Very good. Okay. George, inculcate team spirit. Savita is added for team building, wise usage of unproductive time, convey the team goal. Okay. And lastly, I'll take Santosh to know the each team process and performance, to share knowledge and ideas to come up with solution and making the reviews. Very good points, Santosh. Thank you. Gigi is added. Share the common aim to ensure participation of all the attendees to improvise the action plans. Okay, great. I think some very, very good answers, and probably these answers are coming from those meetings which were never the kind of meeting we all attended. So maybe this is what we wanted, but we never got these in our meetings, right? So it's very important that these are the great answers all of you have given. Wonderful answers. So let me also share why is it important to conduct effective meetings. Yeah. The importance of effective meetings are that better decisions are made. If you are able to conduct a proper, effective, productive meeting, right, better decisions are made, right, which takes the team forward, which takes the organization forward. Yeah, that's very important, right? Team members realize their importance in the system. I think that's very important also. If I'm able to conduct some effective meetings, everybody gets to contribute, share, and that makes everybody feel that they are part of the team, part of the group. It is not just one-way conveying of the supervisor. So everybody feels little, highly valued in the organization, in the team. And that's how, meetings should be conducted. Time, effort, and money are well spent, right? In many cases, when you have people coming from different geographies, coming together in the office, you have spent a lot of time and effort and money to get people together. And if those meetings are really, really unproductive, there's so much money down the drain, right? So that's very, very important. So the importance is to, well spend time, effort, and money of everybody. Yeah. And of course, it provides a way forward during uncertain times. Now look at the current situation of this COVID pandemic, right? For the last 6 months since March, we all have been, some of us are still working from home. Some of us are doing partial work from home, and some of us are trying to go to office and trying to make things happen. But virtual team meetings are happening. So this are ways ensuring that we conduct good, effective, and productive meetings. It also provides a way forward during uncertain times, right? We are not frozen, right? If I conduct some good virtual meeting, I can, even in this uncertain times, I can move forward and achieve my goal, my team goal, and of course my organization goals and objective also. So it's very important of having good, effective meetings even during this pandemic scenario. And all of you who are working in the corporate world, I'm sure all of you are migrated to the virtual platform and are conducting or are being part of these effective virtual meeting platforms. Whether it is Zoom or WebEx or MS Teams or any one of your own platforms, I'm sure you have been or already conducting these, right? So I will share probably some tips towards the end of these virtual meetings and some of the do's and don'ts of these virtual meetings and making them effective. right? And of course, one more important thing which we need to understand is purpose of effective meeting between individuals within a team, right? Between a project frontline and the backend support, right? Between the sales and finance, right? Between the customer and the execution. So that's what happens, many a times. So because of which I think there is a challenge. Yeah. So we need to be able to ensure that we are able to resolve these conflicts and move forward. And that's what a good effective meetings will give us. Yeah. So those are a few more reasons why it's important to have effective meetings. Yeah. And in these days and times, it's important to realize that we don't have an advantage of face to face in the sense of physical presence. A lot of physical presence creates kind of bonding and rapport building, which doesn't happen. Okay, 1 second, guys. Give me a sec. Yeah. So in these days and time, it's very important to make our meetings more sharper, more effective, and more being very sensitive to people's environment, right? And that's where it's important that if you are the one who's organizing a meeting, then we need to be very careful about certain environmental factors which have now cropped up because of the pandemic situation. Earlier, calling a meeting immediately was never a challenge because we all were in office. We could quickly send a message to the group and quickly everybody collect in the nearest meeting room, within a few minutes. Whereas now in the virtual setup, it becomes quite of a challenge, right? It becomes little difficult for the organizer because you need to be able to understand that people are not at the best time at work from home, right? So you will have to give them time. You will have to be sensitive to their, personal time, the personal chores they are supposed to do, support the family. So people will, instead of a 1 hour meeting, probably have to curtail that to a half an hour meeting and still deliver and be as effective. So we have to be very careful because of the current pandemic situation. Yeah. So those are a few things which we need to understand, and they will make our meetings very, very highly effective. Yeah. Okay. Another question I would like to ask from all of you now is that what are the different kinds of meetings you have attended or you are attending currently? Yeah. Please give me your answers. What are the various kinds of meetings you are attending or have attended in the past or currently attending in the last 4, 5, 6 months? Yeah, whether it was virtual or face to face. What kind of meetings were you part of? And give me some real time answers. Okay, whether they were good or bad, I'm not asking. What kind of meetings? Okay, I understand virtual, yes, but what kind of meetings? Yeah, I understand that face to face virtual, but what are the kind? What are the purpose of these meetings which you are attending or you are leading? Okay, so Ganpati's added review meetings. Okay, review means performance review or goal review or what is it? Natarajan or achieving business target. Okay, so it's maybe a weekly on to look where we are in terms of business targets, how far we are. Okay, George is saying virtual review meeting, whether it's a person or a business. Performance review, Pratyush, budget meeting, Rakesh is added. Shweta has added project estimates and planning meetings. Okay. Month end process on financial aspects, Santosh is added. Okay. Ganesh, monthly business review meeting, every level of manager, territory manager, right to the zonal business manager. Yes, absolutely. So that's a business review meet where we are. Okay. Product training. Okay. That is part. Performance meeting, business review, goal planning, product launches. Yes, I'm sure many of you in the month of March, April, May had your annual, goal setting, budgets planning where we had a larger group and smaller groups also. Performance reviews were done. Yes, March, April, May, June, April, May, June. Yeah, a lot of performance reviews were done where you had one-to-one meeting with your, supervisor or your subordinate. Customer service committee meeting. Yes. Fraud prevention. Okay. Wow. What else? Virtual meeting with vendors for product platform creation. Very nice, right? Lakshmipati is added. Performance review meeting and regional meeting. Okay, great. Pratyush, I conducted get together with my team along with tea and snacks. Oh wow, Pratyush, wonderful. So a virtual tea and snacks, huh? Nice. Or was it a real one? Was it a face-to-face one or virtual tea and snacks? Bindu, COVID precaution meeting. Yes. Okay. Amit has added SLBC. I don't know what Amit SLBC means. You please elaborate. Ganpati communication meeting. Okay. So Pratyush, yes. So you brought your sandwiches and coffee, and everybody else bought their sandwiches and coffee and conducted a meeting over some snacks and coffee. Great, wonderful. That's a beautiful way of conducting these meetings. Okay, Amita said state level bankers committee meeting. Okay, great. That clarifies. Very good. Yeah. So I think all of you have given some very good answers to the kind of meetings you're attending. As I said, COVID or no COVID, virtual, telephonic, face-to-face meetings are a part of our life, whether we like it or not, right? So if it is a part of our lives, then you might as well try to make it as effective and productive. Yeah. Let's ensure that we are able to have some very crisp, to the point, and with some, so we all must step out of that meeting with some sense of fulfillment, right? When the leader steps out, he or she should be, wow, when I think I fulfilled the objective of this meeting. All the participants, when they step out, they say, oh, wow, this was a good, crisp, to the point meeting, and we know what was the objective, and we know now what we have to do, right? So that's the feeling of fulfillment everybody should go out with. And it should be a feeling of productive time spent, whether it was a 10 minutes or whether it was a 2-hour meeting. There has to be a sense of fulfillment for everybody concerned, whether the person who's leading it and people who are attending it. That's the whole idea. It should not be, oh my God, I attended, I was behind the video screen, I was silent, I had no contribution to make, I don't even know why I was there, but I was there. So that doesn't leave, I could have done something better. I could have done some, my family children. So that's what I think, when you don't get that kind of fulfillment, that's where the challenge happens. Yeah. Okay. So now let's look at some of the ways where we can make our meetings slightly effective. Okay. So as like always in our Work Better Club, I would like to probably discuss how to conduct meetings effectively, the big three, right? So some of the three major takeaways I'm going to discuss now, which will help you to probably conduct some very, very effective meetings. Yeah. Whether it is face-to-face or whether it is virtual. Because virtual we are doing now, tomorrow when we go back to our offices, all these things will apply there also. Yeah. Okay. So let's, okay, I've got someone who wants to add to the chat. What does he or she say? Apartment AGM. Oh, wow. Raju. Yes. And I've been part of some of these, society and apartment AGM, and they can be very, very aggressive. They can be, it can be all except the agenda. I'm sure, Raju, you have been part of those meetings. Yeah. And I'm sure these days where societies and apartments are being very cautious and they are very, there was, where how to conduct the Ganpati Puja, how to have the security guys, taking precautions, who to, an outsider, parking, what are the rules of playing for children. All these are part of our apartment AGM which are happening. Absolutely right. Good one, Raju there. Yeah. So let's look at some of the big three items which will help us to conduct effective meetings. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So I've divided this into three parts. One is before the meeting, two is during the meeting, and three is after the meeting. Okay. So we'll take it that way. What is it that we need to do before we organize a meeting? And this I'm taking from the perspective of when you are the organizer of the meeting, right? When you are setting up a meeting, when you are leading a meeting, right? It's important that, you need to capture those finer points before the meeting, okay? Second item would be during the meeting, and third, of course, is after the meeting, yeah? Okay, so let's look at some of the do's and don'ts of before the meeting, yeah? Okay, the first item in what we say is when we are looking at planning a meeting, when you want to call up people for meeting, and what do I need to do before the meeting is actually conducted? Whether it's a meeting 1 hour down the road, whether it is 1 day down the road, whether it is 1 week or 1 month later, right? Many of us conduct meetings, or many of us block meetings or people's time 1 month earlier also, right? People who are in very, very high pressure jobs, their calendars are always full, and if you have to get their time, you need to inform them a month in advance, right? So whether it is a 1 month earlier or whether it is one hour later, it doesn't matter. We still need to know what is your purpose. Why are you calling this meeting, right? What is the objective you need to fulfill? So we need to look at what is your purpose. So what is it that we need to do about the purpose part? Yeah. So your meeting must have a specified and defined purpose. Yeah. It has to be very specific and very clear that what are you calling this meeting for, right? The purpose can be, as some of you shared, supervision and performance management. You're having this quarterly review, you're having an annual review, you're having a business review, you're having a market review, you're having an individual review. So you need to set performance expectation, monitoring and reviewing performance, right? So the purpose can be supervision and performance management, communication of certain updates, organization update, project update, team update, whatever, right? So that could be the purpose, communication announcement, progress updates. Yeah, there could be an argument saying that why can't we send this over a mail to everybody? In the mail, probably many times we cannot explain the context, right? Or the agenda behind it, or the logic behind that communication, or the logic behind that announcement. So sometimes we need to convey the logic. Yeah, just give me a sec, guys. Yeah. So sometimes we have to be able to explain the context, the logic behind it, So that's why sometimes just communicating over a mail is not good enough. So I need to possibly call a meeting to give more details about the announcement. Yeah. Then of course, meetings are for majority of the purpose is looking at problem solving, right? We are stuck. There's a problem. So we get together people, either from the same team or different teams to discuss the problem and look at possible solution or potential actions. Yeah, that is one big reason why we call meetings. And lastly, the purpose could be of product generation, where we are talking about collaboration, ideation, and research, where people have been given certain thoughts, they have gone back and they're coming back with their thoughts, where we put together all that thoughts in a meeting. So this could be something as a brainstorming session could happen between different team members. Yeah. So which is collaboration, ideation, or research. So these are some of the defined purposes or specific purpose. So always, whenever you are wanting to call for a meeting, please define your purpose. What is it that you want to achieve? Yeah. What is the agenda? So the purpose will then take you to the agenda. Yeah. So very important for us to define the purpose. Yeah. And before you send that calendar invite, ask yourself, what do I seek to accomplish? Right? Are you alerting people to a change in the process or a shift in strategy? Are you seeking input from others on a problem faced by the team organization? Right? What are you trying to do? Yeah. So these are things which you need to possibly. One second, guys. Yeah. So are you looking to arrive at a decision on a particular matter? So please ask yourself. So give yourself about 2 minutes, 5 minutes, probably half an hour. When it's a critical meeting, having senior stakeholders involved, it becomes more important. Yeah. So you really need to look at how do you want, what is the purpose, what is the objective? Yeah. And answer this question to yourself, and then possibly you will be able to then send out a very crisp invite setting the agenda and the purpose. Yeah. Now, to help you do that, what we see is that looking at the reverse engineering, right? Yeah, the reverse engineering. What is the reverse engineering? Reverse engineer meeting outcome and define. Yeah, reverse engineer the meeting outcome and define a structure, right? So what we say is go with the end results, right? If you know the end result, what do you want, what do you expect, what do you want to achieve, then go back and then define the structure, right? Now, how do we look at that? Let's look at that. Think of what overall outcome you want from the meeting and what activities needed to occur to reach that outcome. The goal should be organized so that these activities are conducted during the meeting, right? So you could say, we are going to be having a performance review, a business review, right? We were supposed to achieve this. Now we will see, okay, this was overachieved, underachieved, and we look at all the reasons which contributed to this overachievement and underachievement with data, with specific inputs, both macro and micro. right? So this is how you are reverse engineering the meeting outcome, right? If it's a project progress report meeting, okay, we were supposed to achieve this part of the project by this deadline, right? So this is so what all was required to reach this milestone, who all were responsible for reach this milestone, that becomes the structure. That means you'll invite all those people and give clear-cut instruction that we need to know what all has happened, because of which this timeline was met or has not been met. Where has it got? So that's how you reverse engineer the meeting outcome, define a structure. Yeah. So next to each major topic include the type of action needed, type of output expected, decision, vote, action assigned to someone, and time estimates for addressing each topic. Yeah. So when you know the end purpose, you will have 2, 3, 4, 5 agenda topics, right, which will address the overall output. And each agenda must be given some timeline. Yeah, this is what the timeline is, and this is what we're going to be addressing in each topic. So have a crisp agenda based on what is the end goal you want. Yeah, and structure your meeting by asking yourself again, what conversation need to place in order to take place in order to accomplish our purpose. In what order do we need to have these conversations? What is the goal of each conversation? What is the best way to conduct each conversation, right? So if you're discussing a new product or a new launch or a new enhancement, then what conversation need to take place in order to accomplish our purpose, right? We're going to talk about the core process and the core product. That means everything from all angles, whether I want to get marketing insight, HR insights, finance insights, customer insight, competition insight, I must have those insights. So that's what, those are the conversations I want in this. Yeah. And of course, what is the goal of each conversation? Whether with all the inputs from all the different departments and people, whether we can take a decision to go or not to go. Yeah. So that could be the goal of each conversation. And what is the best way to conduct each conversation? So reverse engineering is very important. Look at the end goal, what you want to achieve. Yeah. Once you are aware of the end goal, then it helps you to define the structure of the meeting. Very, very important for all the participants who are going to be attending. They must know what is the overall agenda, what is the objective, what is my role in this particular meeting. Am I going to be a silent observer, or I'm going to be a contributing member of this meeting, right? So if I'm going to be a silent member, then I might not be required in this meeting then, because that's where the major challenge happens. Sometimes we attend meetings not knowing what our role is, not knowing whether I have any role at all. So you need to ensure that you call people who are able to contribute in the meeting rather than just being there for the optics, as we call it, just because they have to be there. They have no inputs to be given. It's just putting a crowd together where, because of the crowd, they would be probably, will go divert the attention or divert the agenda. I think somebody said earlier that many a times meetings don't meet the agenda, or they are at absolute diversion, because there are people who are part of the meeting who have no clue, and they raise an issue which has nothing to do with the topic, and the entire discussion happens around that particular issue. That's where the entire meeting goes off the rail. So we have to be very careful about that. So that's why if you are the organizer of the meeting, please understand what the final outcome is you're looking at. Yeah. So that's about the reverse engineering. Okay. Now, next thing which we need to do is, for example, I've given an example here. If you look at the example given, yeah. If you're conducting a meeting to discuss new marketing strategy, ensure that you have informed the team about the various market segments that need to be considered, the desired outcome of the marketing campaign in terms of leads or actual sales. So all the people who are responsible will know, okay, this is what is going to be covered. This is my part in the entire discussion. Yeah, I could be talking about market segments. I could be talking about marketing campaign. I could be talking about the results of the marketing campaign, or what will be the outcome. So that's where people then are more aware of what is to be done, or what is the agenda of this particular meeting. Yeah. Okay. Going forward. Number 3, which we need to really look at, is when we're trying to make an effective meeting, is to invite the right set of people. How many people, raise your hands if you have been part of a meeting where you had no clue why you are there? Give me an honest answer, guys. Give me an honest answer. How many of you? Raise your hand. Okay, I'm getting some good answers here. Wow, 5 of you. Where you have no clue why you are there in that particular meeting. Yeah, I'm sure all of you have been, not just the 5 or 4 of us, but all of you have been. Right? Where you had no clue why you are there. You know, you could have been better doing something else rather than being in this very, very unproductive meeting. Yeah. So getting the right set of people is very crucial. Yeah. If I don't have the right kind of set of people, and if I call all and sundry, right? Any idea? Okay, a good question here. Any idea why do people call all and sundry in a particular meeting? Okay, Ganpati said, I will exit if I'm not part of discussion. Good. But Ganpati, sometimes some of us don't have that choice, right? Some of us have no choice. But let me ask you a question that why do you think people call a lot of people in a particular meeting where many of them don't know why they're in that meeting? Any idea why? Why do you think that we have meetings, organizers having people, get a lot of people in that meeting and half of them, they have no role to play. Any idea? To fulfill the quorum requirements. Okay. To fulfill the quorum requirement. What does that mean? Okay. What does that mean? Yeah. What does that mean? Okay. Need to notice in the group. Okay. Bhaiya, I need to be there. Bhaiya, super boss is there in the meeting. मेरा चेहरा दिखाना है मुझे. I need to be visible. Yeah. That could be one. Okay. Natarajan is saying a minimum number of people to attend. Otherwise, this meeting would be considered a flop meeting. Absolutely right. Okay. What else? So that there is some audience to appreciate. Okay. That's a good one, Amit. Yeah. Okay. What else? What else? Bindu said not understand the people correctly. Okay. Uh, what else? For taking some decisions. Okay. Natarajan said, yeah, probably, if I get more people, I will get larger majority of people probably saying yes to me. Right? Now, it's really unfortunate when leaders or supervisors or managers get a crowd to get an agreement to a particular point. There could be a small minority which may not be agreeing, but get a larger crowd to possibly push through a particular agenda, which later on might backfire. But a lot of people conduct meetings, let me get my firepower, let me get this manpower, crowd, which will, outshout or outsay the smaller minority. Okay. Ganpati said, maybe interlink with my department. I didn't get that. What do you meant by that, Ganpati? Okay. Santosh added, need to make awareness in town hall meeting. Yeah, fair enough. Town hall is fine. Yeah. A town hall where, for example, if there's a major policy change, some major announcement where not everybody is required to really contribute. Yeah. Those are the town halls are probably the one-way, communication or that one-way meeting, which is fair enough. Yeah, absolutely fine. Okay, so what the whole idea was to ensure that when we are organizing a meeting, we invite the right set of people. And to make a meeting effective, you have to have the right set of people attending it, right? If you want to really make a meeting productive and effective and to have meeting the purpose and objective, right? You need to have the right kind of people there. Yeah. So let's look at some of the kind of people which should be there in an effective and productive meeting. Yeah. Let's look at that. So some of the principles which you can apply. Yeah. Bring in the best people who are available, right? They ask questions, draw connection between ideas, offer novel ideas, challenge ideas, listen intently, display flexibility, contribute to a congenial environment, right? So it's important that when we're, especially for example, some brainstorming or creativity, let's have the best people available. Yeah. People who are not afraid to share, people who are not afraid to put up their hand and say, I differ. People who have the guts to say, what, I can see a flaw, because that's what is exactly one. Yeah. Now, but the second point it says, avoid the people who will create problems. Now, when I say create problems, not by always contradicting you or questioning you, but generally they are the ones who are not letting the meeting go forward. People who are probably more of a nuisance factor rather than anything else. right? People who are very good in probably diverting the agenda to their own agenda. So, and we all know who they are in our organization. So it's important that probably we avoid them, because having them in a meeting doesn't really serve any purpose. It only confuses the people. So if you can avoid those people, great, right? But to be able to counteract these problem makers, it is good to have people who can also interact with them. So get those people who can really raise the level of your meeting and really raise the level of the effectiveness and productiveness. Yeah. And of course, get people who can wear multiple hats and play different roles. Yeah. It's important, and it doesn't have to be at a certain hierarchy. It can be people who have joined newly. It could have some veterans in your team. It could have, some people from the other teams, from some other stakeholders, from external sources. All those could be part of it, because once you have these different kind of people, it really contributes to real good contribution, which will help you to meet the objective. Yeah, that's what it is. So if you can get different people, if you can get people who are available, who are the best people in your team, I think that's the best way to go about it. Yeah? So get and invite the right set of people, which will help you to achieve your objectives. It should take you forward rather than take you backwards. That's the whole idea behind getting the right people. So please ensure that you invite the right people who will really ensure that meeting agenda is met, you are able to achieve your objective, and all the people and all the participants step out of the meeting with a feeling of fulfillment, with the feeling of achieving something productive. Yeah, that's why you need to invite the right set of people. Okay, let's have a quick caselet here. Okay, read the exercise and give me the right answer as per your thought process. Yeah, please share your thoughts in the chat box. Please share your answer in the chat box. Okay, I'm getting some answers here. Let's see what the answers are. Okay, so I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 5. Okay, backend team. Okay, so I've got someone answering only 5. Rohini is added. IT engineers, IT service desk, head and backend team. Okay, 1 and 5. 1, 2, 5. Okay, 1, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, so I think, yeah, you got 2 to 5. Okay, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so what possibly is the right answer in this case is that this is may not be the perfect answer, but I think what would be the right answer here is probably the answer is the 1, 4, and 5. They are the relevant people who are the most impacted and effective, right? Right. So this is where because the IT engineers, the customer complaint handlers, and the backend team. Okay, so there could be a customer complaint handler, there could be a supervisor of that team. I'm okay with that also, because these are the people who are most affected by this. Yeah, and these are the people who will get the maximum benefit out of this also. So we must take into account that who are the people who are the most affected, or who are the people who are the most benefited, right? So if you look at that, then possibly the operation head and the IT service desk head may not have the right kind of, they are not required, these heads are not required, because this is an operational issue. Yeah. So you need to get the people who are actually going to do it rather than the heads to be important. So that's why the IT engineers, the complaint handlers, and the backend team. Accounts payable, not relevant. Okay, not relevant for this particular type of meeting. So it's important that we look at the relevant people. Okay, the relevant people, not the, because the heads will be overdoing it, because the heads do not need to be part of this, because this is a kind of a meeting which is required. The heads have no role to play in this. Neither they can contribute or neither can they add much to this, right? So that's why it's important for us to have the right people, yeah? Because the objective of this meeting is something else, where the operations head and the IT service desk head will not have any role to play. Yeah, does that make sense, guys? Can I get a yes in the chat box? Have I made sense? Yeah. Yeah, operation head, as somebody said, yeah, agree. But the operation head can be intimated. He need not be part of this meeting. His time is of big, importance. His every minute and every hour is of high importance. So having him as part of this meeting will be a waste of his time, and he will not probably, yeah, it'll be good to know. But then remember, meetings should not be for good to know. They need to be able to, what is the purpose? And for this particular objective, for this particular meeting, I think the ops heads are probably not required. Yeah, that's why is the reason why we look at 1, 4, and 5 for this particular meeting. Yeah. Okay, so moving ahead, let's go ahead. The next thing we need to look at is, when you're organizing a meeting, you need to be having your own data and telling people to also come with the relevant data, facts, and figures, right? So we need to be able to have the relevant information which is objective. Now, when I say objective information, which has the relevant data, facts, and figures, right? It's very important to be able to come to a meeting with relevant data points. Yeah. Yeah. Very important to be able to come with relevant data points, which will help us to look at the progress, comparison, how far, how close. For example, many of you said about conducting business review meetings, right? Now, you're part of those meetings, you organize those meetings. Now, of course, you'll invite all the participants to come with their data, but you need to be having your own data so as to see whether they're on the right track. If you're monitoring a progress report of a particular product, you need to have the relevant data. So we need to have the relevant data, facts, and figures, which will help us to really make the meeting very, very productive. Yeah. So you can gain the following benefits from ensuring data-driven meetings. The more the data-driven meeting, the better is the focus of people. The better is the impact of that meeting, and the better is the completion and fulfillment of the objective. Right? So the more the data-driven meeting, the better is, so data-driven meetings, more goal-driven and focused spirit, greater transparency, more accountability. That's what is the benefit of having data-driven meetings. Yeah. So capture and present data on the following line. What was the goal? What went well? What are the missing? Its implications. Yeah. So those are the few things which you can. So when you gather data, it helps us to answer these these questions. Yeah. So that's why it's important to be able to get the data and properly. So you carry your own data and get participants to come with data, facts, and figures. That will make the meeting very, very impactful and very, very productive. Yeah. So that's what it is. So ensure that for that meeting, the relevant data, the relevant facts, the relevant figures are shared, right? And people come with that. So people can come with their, inputs on that data. And that will, ensure that the meeting is very sharp and focused. That's what's important. Yeah. Great. Right. Okay. That's very important. So 4 things you have discussed. Yeah. 4 things you have discussed. Now, can somebody help me to quickly telling me what are the 4 things we spoke about? What were the 4 things you have spoken in terms of before the meeting? Yeah. Give me some inputs, guys. Yeah. So we've spoken about, okay, somebody was answering here. Okay, so purpose, the right set of people with the relevant data, and structure the meeting. How do I structure? By looking at reverse engineering. What is the end objective? Yeah, great. Purpose, ask. So getting the right people, the right purpose, what is the end goal, and data driven. Get all your data, get all your facts and figures. Yeah, that is how we look at it. So yeah, Bindu's added purpose, reverse engineer, invite the right people with the kind of progress report. Now, Bindu, the term progress report is for all relevant data, facts and figures, right? So have ensure that you and everybody comes to the meeting with relevant data, facts and figures. That will help you to really get the focus to the meeting. Yeah. So that's what you do in terms of preparation or before the meeting. Yeah. Does that make sense, guys? Give me a yes if these 4 pointers will give you to really prepare for a meeting. Will this really help you to prepare for a meeting properly? Wonderful. So please keep this in mind the next time you are trying to organize a meeting or set a meeting. Remember, meetings are, you are demanding a certain part of people's time, right? You are demanding their time, whether it's 10 minutes or 1 hour. And if you're getting 5 people attending a meeting for 60 minutes, that means you're actually utilizing 300 minutes of productive time. 300 minutes of organization's productive time. If you don't make that 300 minutes effective and productive, it's such a huge loss to the organization and those individuals. Yeah, not to forget your 30 minutes also, your 60 minutes also, which actually means 360 minutes. So that's collectively you have wasted people's time. So that's why it's very, very important that before you set out, you please look at the purpose and objective and who has to attend, what are the facts required, and what is the end objective you want. If you don't do that, you will again be a reason for ineffective and unproductive meetings. So please be very, very careful about that. Okay, let's now go ahead and talk about what is it that we need to do during the meeting. Okay, very, very important points. Okay, good start has a good meeting, a very positive meeting, right? Like in our face-to-face meetings, normally when we get into a meeting, we spend about a minute or two chit chat. Okay, maybe people have come from different departments. Maybe people have come from a meeting after a long time. People are in virtual locations, right? For example, like currently we all are in probably work from home where we are doing virtual meetings, right? So people are not able to see each other, meet each other regularly. So it's important that the first 3 minutes we use for check-in. Now, what is check-in? Check-in is nothing but able to look at your ability to build a bond and reconnect and establish rapport with people. Yeah, very important to do that, especially during these pandemic situations, where before we deep dive into the agenda, let's quickly have a 3-minute check-in. So spend the first 3 minutes in doing a check-in with all the participants to knowing what how are they doing. It helps in reconnecting. It helps to take the temperature of the room and eliminates the feeling of isolation, right? So it creates a bonding, especially when we are in this virtual situation because of the pandemic, right? I'm not physically present, right? So when I'm not physically present, I'm not able to take advantage of the physical presence. There's a lot of, as somebody said the other day when I was conducting one more session, that physical, that breathing, that physical presence of a live person, that creates a different kind of bonding, which is not really true through a virtual screen, right? So that's the kind of connect which you feel. So ensure that whether it's a face-to-face or a virtual meeting, ensure that you do a 3 minutes check-in. Yeah, of course. Some of the pointers, some of the things which you can talk about, especially during this pandemic situation, family, health, hobbies, interests. These are some of the things which you could probably take up as conversation. If you know that somebody is is a writer, is a biker, is someone who does adventure sports, or is into something else, you could talk about several things. There could have been a nice IPL match which was happening last night, and if there are people in the room which are who are fond of cricket, that could be a starting point to check in. If there was some health issue of a family member, that could be a point for a check-in. So please start all virtual meetings with a check-in. This check-in reduces the barrier, reduces the stress, reduces the strain, and connects and bonds people. Very important for a successful progress of the meeting and for a productive conclusion. Right? People need to be able to bond with each other, and that helps in empathy and sympathy also, and that will help you to probably break barriers wherever they are. Yeah. So good start will have a good end. So implement the 3-minute check-in. Then the next part is address the core matters with care, right? So when you're in the meeting, address the core matters with care. Now, care is an acronym which I've used here, right? So understand, so you need to address what was the purpose, what is the end goal, right? That is what we are looking at. So address the core matters with care. What is this care? First is, in your mind, you need to be clear and concise. During the meetings, carefully formulate your ideas so that you are clear and concise. Yeah? If you are going to be speaking during the meeting, if you are supposed to be contributing during the meeting, please ensure that you are clear and concise in your mind. Please do not have convoluted language, very, very descriptive. You need to be able to make your conversations very crisp. Yeah. So clear and concise in your mind before you actually become, as the last point says, that, use statements that are exact and specific. Now that will happen when you're clear and concise in your mind. Yeah. So clarity and exactness, or that's what is a connection. Along with that, be adaptable and respectful for all the participants. Adaptable, be flexible and willing to adapt your view to the view of others. Sometimes it happens that we come with our data, we come very objectively, we come with our point of view. But sometimes we are not able to see others' point of view, or we don't realize the importance of others' point of view. And if someone has put a point which is you have never thought of, then have the flexibility and adaptability to accept that there could be some new information, there could be some input which you had never thought of, which is something absolutely wonderful, and that probably is the right way to go. So your ability to be adaptable in a meeting is very, very important. If you take a very rigid stand, if you take a very, very my way or the highway stand, then you'll have meetings where everybody will keep quiet, everybody will say yes, wow, this is a good idea, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, and nobody actually contributes. And you are very happy the meeting went off well. And at the end of the next 2 months, that entire project flopped, the entire thing went bad because nobody actually looked at it very, very, and nobody actually told you that there's something wrong. So if you're going to indulge in one-way communication, then you will have people nodding their head, but a very, very bad decision made. So be flexible and willing to adapt your view to the view of others. Now, I'll give an example towards this. I'm sure all of us have heard of Samsung, one of the biggest in electronics worldwide. Now, Samsung is a Korean company, one of the 4 big Korean companies to come out of that country, right? So Samsung, LG, Daewoo, and there's one more company. Samsung, LG, Daewoo, which is the 4th, and Hyundai. Yes, these are the 4 major corporates which have been the biggest success stories of South Korea, right? Now, all of them are successful, right? But Samsung, launched a company about 20 years back, or probably 25 years back, of Samsung Motors, because of Daewoo and Hyundai doing so well. So Samsung's MD was a great follower, and he had a lot of passion for cars and automobiles. So he said, I'm as big as Daewoo and as big as Hyundai. I want to launch a car and automobile company, right? So he went and he conducted this meeting with the senior executives, and they spent some $300 million to come up with their cars and assembly line, right? And of course, it was his passion for cars, right? But he did not really go about doing all that was necessary to evaluate whether the car will work out or not, right? And after about 2 years of that project, the project had to be, closed down. And some $300 million went down the drain because nobody in that meeting was able to raise a question, because it was MD. So nobody actually raised his hand, and nobody actually countered and counteracted, because that was how it was conducted. Imagine the amount of time and money lost because of this one-sided, meeting. And that one meeting, really impacted the Samsung by $300 million. So it's a huge impact. And of course, loss of, reputation and lot of, motivation also. So it's very important for us to be in our meeting, let's be adaptable. Let's allow others to also contribute. And you never know, something new will come up. Yeah. Okay, I have someone who has raised a hand. So if there's any question, my request is please put in the chat box. I will address that. In the after meeting session. There's someone who has also raised their hand. Aman, if you have a question, my request is park it till the end. I will take that question at the end. Jishnu also has raised a hand. Yes, I will request to put your question in the Q&A box, and I will try to take those questions at the end. Yeah. Okay. So address the core matter with care. Clear and concise. Be adaptable. Very important to be respectful towards others, right? Yes, there could be a contradictory statement made by somebody in the group. There could be someone who doesn't agree with you. Yes, there would be people, but it's important that we always be respectful to others that are participating in the meetings, sharing their viewpoints. And they could go against your views. They could go against your point of view. It's for a healthy meeting, for a productive meeting, and an effective meeting, it's important to be respectful towards others. Yeah, let them put their point across. Yeah, and of course, with data, facts, and logic, counter that. Either he gives a better logic or you give a better logic. And both of you should fight over logic, not fight over personalities. And a lot of times we have seen meetings is a fight because of people personalities. So clear and concise, adaptable, respectful, and absolutely to the point conversation, right? So exact, clear, concise, adaptable, respectful, and exact. Use statements that are exact and specific. Yeah, makes sense, guys? Okay. So once I've addressed the core matter, so what I did was, first of all, we spoke about a good start. Second was that during the meeting, address the core matters with care. Yeah. And third is encourage interactivity. That's exactly what I was saying. Encourage interactivity between the participants. The more interactivity, the better is all the participants will feel as part of the meeting. And that will help you to probably come up with better and effective thought processes, which will help you to achieve your goal and agenda. Yeah. So encourage interactivity. If you have asked people to come and share, let them share. If you ask people to come with data, let them put their data. Yeah. The more you're able to do that, the better is the quality of your meeting, the better will be the impact. And as I said, everybody will go out of the meeting with a sense of fulfillment. Yeah, you know what? I think this meeting was good. Everybody was allowed to contribute and we had a way forward. Yeah. Not everybody will agree to each other. Fair enough. We might have to agree to the majority thought process. Fair enough. But at least everybody gets the chance to contribute. So encourage interactivity. So in these days and times, because the virtual meeting platforms available to us, we can do a bit of interactivity, which is beyond the verbal also. So there are various ways, when we conduct virtual sessions also, and virtual meetings, you can engage in virtual physical brainstorming to get a complete, perspective, right? Use polls to identify your audience's pulse, right? We can get anonymous polls done where all participants in your meeting can really contribute towards answering, right? Soliciting feedback openly to improve systems, processes, decision making. Do that, yeah. And sometime, and I have used it a lot of times in my meeting. I head a business development team. I have about 15 participants, 15 team members in my meetings many a times, right? In that, sometimes I allow others to take on the baton. If there's a particular discussion, a particular thought process, I encourage others. And of course, I inform them earlier. You know what? For this particular module, I will want you to take this up. I would want you to share this in the meeting. So that really helps to reduce your burden as a team, as a supervisor of the meeting, and encourages others to contribute. And that makes it a very, very interactive kind of a meeting, right? So let someone else take the lead, discuss specific points from the meeting. Yeah. So very important, have some kind of virtual brainstorming, use polls, take feedback from others, and of course, let others take on the baton. That will make the entire session very, very interactive. Yeah. Any other thoughts of making meetings interactive? Can somebody else share with me? I'm sure many of you are conducting meetings. Any other ways to make virtual meetings or any other meeting, face-to-face meeting interactive? Anybody else has any thoughts in this? Yeah. If there are any supervisors in this room or people who are conducting meetings currently in the corporate world, have you guys come up with any other way to make meetings interactive? Gigi's has added group-wise discussion. Okay, interesting. Forming groups. Bindu's added forming groups with goals given. Yeah, that's a good one. Savita's added allot topics to team members. Wow, that's a good one. Again, so they are, each one of them are linking to each other and each connects to the other topic. Yeah, that's a good way. Okay. Ganesh said rewarding the star performance. Yes. Okay, great. That's a good way to build motivation and reward so that everybody feels connected to the action. Yes, good one. Okay. Open forum to raise questions. Yes. Okay, Anil has added up a good one. Throw questions. Yes, sometimes you need to throw questions and ask for people's opinion. And people should be aware that there could be questions thrown at them and they need to really answer. Open forum, throw question, role playing. Yeah, Lakshmipat, that's a good one. Sometimes you need to probably role play with the team member to see, okay, what does others have to contribute? Yes, absolutely right. Especially when you're conducting customer scenarios. Yes. Amit has added giving them real life problems and asking them to give solutions. Fair enough. Good one. Okay. Active participants celebrate the achievements conducting on the spot poll. Yes, absolutely right. Sometimes that also helps us to move forward because a lot of time the democratic way of conducting poll helps us to move forward because sometimes there's a stalemate and we have to go on the poll win. Yeah. So good. Thank you so much all of you for sharing your thoughts on how we can make our session more interactive and allotting topics to teams and team members. I think that's a good idea to build interactivity, and each of the topics are actually related to the other topics and helps to keep building on it, and that really helps to take the conversation to a next level. Wonderful point shared by all of you. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's encourage interactivity. And of course, in some meetings, there could be some people who are, I won't say difficult, but sometimes they become a little bit of a irritating factor or hindrance, or not very negatively, but then sometimes they become what we call a difficult audience, right? So just a few tips which I would like to add on how to handle difficult audience in a group effectively, right? So some of the types of difficult audience and how to deal with them may not be the appropriate, may not be the best way to deal with them, but this is how we have seen to handle these people, whether it's in a face-to-face meeting or a virtual meeting. These are some of the ways we can deal with these kinds of audience. They're not negative, they're not there to harm you, but then some people can become slightly, which can really take the meeting towards a different direction altogether. To avoid that, these are some of the ways you can handle them, right? So the talker, the whisperer, the jester, and the cynic. Yeah, I'm sure all of us have had these people, if not all of them, at least one of them during our meetings. Yeah. So the talker disrupts by interjecting comments, anecdotes, chats. So the way we can deal with them is to, in a face-to-face meeting, standing close to them really makes them conscious. So they automatically keep quiet, right? The other way to do is elicit cooperation to direct the energies, politely interrupt. Yeah. Yeah. So encourage them to talk, but then also have the, the control to interrupt them politely and take them forward. Yeah. So you need to be able to do that. Whisper, side conversation with the person sitting next door. Okay. One good way is to check for the understanding, stop talking until they notice and rearrange the seating if possible. If you are the boss, get them to sit separately. Yeah. Jester or the class clown, as you call them. Limit the number of times they intervene and offer appreciation for them to make the room light-hearted and it'll more comfortable. But also share with them request focus due to time pressure, because everybody's time is very important. We need to focus on the agenda, right? So it should not happen that we are half an hour meeting is taken over 15 minutes of just fooling around. That doesn't really serve the purpose. So give them the attention, but tell them to really focus on the agenda. Yeah? Of course, cynical person who has tried, a senior staff negative person who has tried and failed in the past. A lot of time people are not, their projects have failed. They like to find loopholes in your project, loopholes in your ways of doing things. So that's a cynical one. Yeah. Sometimes the loopholes are right also, but most times they are not. So explain the benefits of the change, listen, acknowledge their fear, doubt, and allow them to reason. Yeah. Sometimes cynical actually can come up with some valid points. They are the typical black hat people who sometimes will probably give you a perspective which you have not really looked at. So that's how you deal with the cynical person. So the talker, whisperer, jester, and cynical, these are some of the ways you can handle them during a team meeting. Yeah. Okay, so those are the ways to handle the different kind of people. Right. And lastly, wear the blue hat. What is that blue hat? So in what we call as that in the six thinking hats, we have what we call the wear the blue hat. Now, maintaining the meeting decorum, start and end the meeting on time. Very important for us to be the someone, if you are the organizer and the leader of the meeting, if you are set of the meeting, ensuring that it starts on time, ends on time, and the meetings, decorum is maintained. Of how will the whole thing be done? Who will speak? How it is to be done? This is the end purpose. This is the agenda. Ensure that is there. Right? So a blue hat is someone who actually collects all the information, sets the agenda, and ensure that everything is done as per the meeting, agenda and the meeting decorum. So ensure that you communicate this in the beginning of the meeting. Someone needs to take the responsibility, and most likely the person who is leading the meeting should wear the blue hat, ensuring the meeting decorum and respecting the time of each other. Start and end meetings on time. Yeah. If you are going to be extending the meeting, then request everybody and put in a request to the group, guys, before we continue, this meeting will be extended by 30 minutes, right? If you feel that you can carry on in this meeting, please stay. Otherwise, let's end the meeting here and I will send a fresh meeting invite for us to then discuss these points which have been left over, and we'll reconvene later at the mutually convenient time. If people are okay with extending, then continue the meeting. Please ensure that you are requesting and respecting people's time. And especially during these pandemic times, very, very more important. So please do that. Okay. Right. A lot of times, especially during this pandemic situation, exude what you call as bounded optimism, right? Optimism with a bit of caution, right? Obviously, cautious optimism, right? Yes, things will improve, things are good, but, right, you need to ensure that we are able to exude the bounded optimism. Confidence combined with realism during meetings leads to increased levels of trust and faith in the audience, right? It's not all gung-ho, it's not all rosy, it's not absolutely, there would be. So we need to ensure that we end the meeting or we close the meeting with optimism, but with the right kind of, realism also, right? You encourage faith in the future without downplaying the present challenges. Yes, we are going to increase business by so much, but these are the current challenges. If we don't overcome these challenges, we'll have a challenge, right? Everybody must know that we are there, we are on our way, but if we don't address these challenges, then we'll have a problem. So that's what is called as bounded optimism or cautious optimism. Yeah. Appreciate what was appreciated, engage in public appreciation and reinforce. Yeah. So ensure that people who are doing well in that project, people are achieving their timelines, they are appreciated so that people feel motivated, and a message is sent to the rest of the people who are not yet there to be able to come up the level. So these are the ways where you can show cautious optimism before you close the meeting. Yeah. So that's what we call as so everything, we must try to end the meeting in a bounded optimism where we know that things are going good, but this is what all have to be done so that we are able to really achieve what we have to do. That's exactly what is the bounded optimism means. Okay, so a quick summary of what will we do during the meeting. Can somebody give me a quick recap of the 6 points you discussed for during the meeting? Come on, guys, give me some answers. Good, Savita. I like that what you have shared, that you have these 5-day update meetings where you lead it sometime and sometimes someone else leads it. So every week there is someone else. Okay. Yeah. So my question to all of you is quickly summarize what we have done in terms of doing the meeting. Encourage interaction. Rajan, good. What else? What else is there we need to require? Come on, guys, let's have some answers. Deal with difference of opinion. Okay, great, good enough. Bounded optimism. Yes, Ganesh, good one. Wear the blue hat. Ensure that you are able to form certain ground rules and you start and end meeting on time. Encourage participation. Good start, Savita. Yes, good start. Address the core with care and encourage interaction, keeping time. Absolutely very well said. Yes, Selva, good start. Address the core matter, encourage interactivity, deal with difficult audience, and of course have bounded optimism. Very good, very good. I really like that all of us are paying attention and are able to capture notes. Good. Great. So once I have been able to prepare before the meeting, during the meeting, some of the few things which we need to do after the meeting. Okay, quickly just look at a couple of points after the meeting. First of all is make note of action. Yeah, point. So we normally have minutes of the meeting, summarize the meeting, define the roles and responsibilities, and set a deadline, right? So we always have to, we must encourage the minutes for the meeting, right? This was what was discussed, and these are the action points. This is the person who's going to do it with these kind of timelines, and so clarity on who's going to do what, and this is how the entire moving forward. So there needs to be a proper action points. Yeah, with clear-cut roles, responsibilities, with timelines, and of course, summary of the meeting, right? Summary, it has to be not the complete meeting word by word. It has to be a summary of the meeting. That's why we call the minutes of the meeting, and given to all the participants for their reference, and of course, for their necessary action. Yeah, and a good habit is to probably in the next meeting, pick up the minutes of the meeting, start with that, right? In terms of what was discussed, who was supposed to do it, what timeline, where are we on those, and then go forward in today's meeting. That will help you to reconnect with the earlier meeting. Yeah. So that's the first thing in terms of point of action. Next is follow up to track the progress. Yeah. So after the meeting is done, you need to ensure, as you as the who was organizing this meeting, you are the one who's leading this entire thing. You need to follow up to track the progress as per the minutes of the meeting, right? So that's what you need to do in terms of follow-up. Yeah. So if this person was supposed to do this part of the task, okay. So, and they were supposed to do it in the next 1 week. So maybe mid of the week, you will give a quick check on them or a progress. Okay, what's update? Are we there? Any support, any help? Are we nearing completion? If not, what is to be needed, right? If it was supposed to be sent to the relevant stakeholder, gone, not gone, where are we, right? If the data was to be collected, not collected, why not, how, what, where, who. So that will keep you a track of the action plan. It cannot have you can't have a meeting which ends with an actionable point, and after the duration is over, nothing is done, which means that there was something wrong in deciding on that action plan. Whether that was not given to the right people, or that time was given very less, or it was too difficult and complex task, people took it up without any conviction. So you need to be able to have a meeting ending with a proper actionable, which everybody takes it on and they ensure that they complete it. But for that, a follow-up to track the progress is also very, very important. Yeah. So that's what would be called as the conducting effective meetings. Yeah. You need to be before the meeting starts, during the meeting, and sometimes we forget this after the meeting, because that's what will make a meeting effective for all participants when the agenda or the objective or the purpose has been fulfilled. You cannot have good meetings without any purpose being met. That's not a good meeting. That will be the worst meeting, because you went out with this optimism, but nothing happened. That's and if this happens regularly, then people will say, it's a waste of time. We are attending this meeting, nothing getting achieved. That means that during the meeting or before the meeting, we did not do our homework. It's very important to be able to do that. Yeah. So always keep before, during, and after. All three are very, very important stages. Yes, before is probably little more important. During the meeting also very, very important to keep an eye on those things. And of course, then the last item is follow up your meeting with proper actionable points. Yeah. Okay, great. So give me a yes if I've been clear in giving an understanding of some of these tips about how to conduct effective meetings. Yeah. Yeah, Savita, absolutely right. This stage is always neglected by a lot of people, and that's why meetings are ineffective. Great. Thank you so much. I hope it has been clear.